also got $8 billion for child care, socially necessary. $10 billion for community college renovation. That means construction work. That's stimulus. That's production. $4 billion to modernize schools. More stimulus, more production, tangible, physical, real-world production. They also reformed the FAFSA, and if you've had to fill out the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, the basis of loans and grants, then you're going to be happy about that one. Now, let's look very quickly at the healthcare debate. We've now got the Baucus bill. The Baucus bill is the Obama bill. Reports from Capitol Hill are that Obama is supporting the Baucus bill in private conversations. Dear Obama bots, your betrayal is complete. You wanted single-payer Medicare for all. You didn't get it. He dropped that before he got out of the gate. Now he's dropped the government option. He's endorsing Baucus. Baucus is a monstrosity. Everybody knows it. There's a whole chorus, a hue and cry. Howard Dean doesn't like it. Ron Wyden doesn't like it. Jay Rockefeller doesn't like it. Anthony Weiner and that group in the House doesn't like it. And of course not. How could they like it? What you're going to have now is if you earn up to $66,000 a year, I think this is a family of four, you have to pay 13% of your income to a for-profit, blood-sucking, zombie private insurance company, which is deregulated, and you can't sue them. And they'll give you, they'll say no pre-existing conditions, and they'll jack the rate up into the ionosphere, into interplanetary space. And if you don't want to be part of it, you'll have to pay up to $3,800 as a penalty. And that would probably bring in $50 billion, according to one estimate. Young people will be forced to pay the private insurance companies. And in the process, of course, $500 billion will be looted and gouged out of Medicare and Medicaid. There will be taxes on health insurance plans. This is absolute nonsense. Obama lied. Obama promised in the past that he would support single-payer Medicare for all. He lied. There are even recordings that the Republicans play, right? The Republicans attack what he said then, not what he's doing now. There was indeed a debate between O'Reilly and Rove, where O'Reilly said Obama's not nationalizing anything. He's doing everything for the private insurance companies. And, of course, Rove has to hang on to this ideological construct that this is a government takeover. It's not a government takeover in the sense of knocking the private insurance companies out. It is the fascist corporate state putting the power of the government behind the private insurance companies. That's fascism in terms of economics. Now, there's a big argument about whether this is constitutional. My view is that it is unconstitutional. How can you have an individual mandate that an individual has to buy health care from a private insurance company? You are forced to get insurance on a car, but that's part of registering the car. It's not for getting a driver's license even. It's to register a car. You cannot be coerced into buying private insurance just because you're there, right, because you exist. Now, the way that it's likely to be structured is the following. The individual mandate will take the form of a 2.75 increase in the income tax. That's what you're going to have to pay the federal government, except if you buy private insurance, you will get a tax credit back for that if you have insurance. So that means you'll get the 2.7 that you lose to the income tax. You'll get that back on the back of the form through a tax credit if you're doing the 1040 on the back of the form. But the problem is, what qualifies as insurance, and how can they force you to spend 13% of your income on the insurance? But most important, if you take, for example, the education credit, it's any qualified education expense, tuition and fees. It doesn't say you have to go to the University of Missouri. It doesn't say you have to go to Williams College. It doesn't tell you that there's an approved government cartel of institutions that you can pay your money to and then take a tax credit on that. No matter how you cut this, if it's going to be an increase of the income tax, which is then balanced by a tax credit if you buy the insurance, and if you don't, you pay a penalty as well as paying the tax, you are still being forced into a relationship with a state-sponsored compulsory cartel of insurance companies, the goal of which is to drive down services, drive down medical care, deprive you of medical tests, but of course to prop up the derivatives and profits of these zombie private insurance companies. So this, in my view, is unconstitutional. It goes beyond the Commerce Clause. Commerce Clause says Congress can regulate interstate commerce among and between the several states. But just by sitting here in Pennsylvania or California or wherever you are, just sitting there doesn't mean that you, individual, are part of interstate commerce. And above all, how can the government force you to buy something from a private company, even if they are a member of a state-sponsored fascist corporate state cartel? It's unconstitutional in that sense. And this is no crackpot right-wing argument. This basically says, how can the government force you to be subservient with your income to a private predatory zombie insurance company banker interest? In other words, a finance oligarch is going to get your money through the power of the federal government. That's fascism. That's a state-sponsored compulsory cartel. So I think there's a broad area here of rational, not crackpot or legal crank arguments, but perfectly rational arguments that it is unconstitutional. Now, we've heard of Jimmy Carter, right? Jimmy Carter thinks if you're against Obama, you're a racist. Nancy Pelosi thinks that if you protest, you're preparing violence. This is the age-old elitism versus populism. These people are rich elitists, and the problem of rich elitists in the era of globalization is that they hate the masses. They hate and fear the vast majority of working people, white, black, or any other kind, in the United States and around the world. We're going to have the referendum against the European Union, hopefully in Ireland, on October 2nd. Irish voters, vote down those Eurocrats and Euroglarks and get yourself out from under the European Central Bank if you can. If you're in some place like Iceland, don't join them. But now we see Carter and Pelosi expressing their class consciousness. Carter, of course, is a hypocrite. In 1970, when Carter ran for governor of Georgia, he sounded like Lester Maddox and George Wallace. He was anti-busing. He was basically pro-segregation nostalgic. So Carter telling us about race, go back and look at that 1970 Carter campaign. It's written up in Obama, the Postmodern Coup, the making of a Manchurian candidate. So we have all kinds of people getting to Obama's left. Hannity, by going to Fresno, California, and protesting for the water needs of farmers who are being destroyed by the lunatic ecological extremists and rich elitists of the Environmental Protection Agency and these other elitists. Hannity has struck a populist pose. He got to Obama's left on this issue. O'Reilly is to Obama's left by demanding a government plan. O'Reilly doing better for a government plan than Obama. Dick Morris defending Medicare against Obama. Even the Republican National Committee defending them. And look, when Michelle Obama goes to the farmers market here over by the White House, she's a rich elitist. What does she buy? Tuscan kale, organic Asian pears, dandelion greens, free-range eggs. Remember, Obama is the arugula candidate, and at this market you pay $3 a pint for potatoes that you can get for 40 cents a pound at the supermarket. You get the picture. Rich elitists. It's time for a populist groundswell. March on Goldman Sachs. Get a 1% Tobin.
It's no secret that Genesis Communications Network depends on listeners like you. Now you can do even more to hear Genesis shows in your area. Simply call your local radio stations and tell them about your favorite GCN programs. It's easy. Log on to GCNlive.com or call us toll-free 877-807-4048. Make a difference. Call your local stations and contact us through affiliate relations at GCNlive.com or call 877-807-4048. Call today.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.